This is what the fight is all about. This panorama of the New Jersey Palisades and Englewood Cliffs, just north of the George Washington Bridge, and the disagreement that has sparked lawsuits by environmentalists against LG Electronics USA is over this property at 111 Sylvan Avenue. This vacant 27-acre lot, which is not physically located on the Palisades, is where LG wants to construct their North America headquarters. The office park would include a 143-foot high central building, a 55-foot tall office building, and a 40-foot tall parking garage. The move from this building 2 miles north at 1000 Sylvan Avenue would allow LG to consolidate offices for as many as 1,200 employees, including top executives, as well as their sales and marketing operations, according to John Taylor, LG's Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications. LG was granted variances by Englewood Cliffs. They were sued by the organizations Scenic Hudson, New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, and the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs. A judge has ordered mediation. Opponents say the planned edifice is too tall and would rise above the tree lines and spoil the scenic views in northern New Jersey. This is what they say the view would devolve to if zoning changes are granted to LG and to other developers in the future. They say they don't want the land north of the bridge to look like the land south of the bridge. With a severe thunderstorm on the way, about 15 opponents of the project gathered at the Women's Federation Monument, which sits on a bluff in Palisades Interstate Park about 460 feet above the scenic view of the Hudson River, to rally in support of their cause.
The New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs of GFWC is credited with saving the Palisades from quarrying in the late 1890s, as evidenced by this memorial that you see here. The Federation Memorial and this structure are dedicated to the successful efforts of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs and of those men and women who aided in the opening years of the 20th century in preserving these Palisades cliffs from destruction for the glory of God and who created them, and the ennobling of the generations may henceforth enjoy them. That's what's on the plaque. Yes, we are involved because of our history, but we're really involved for our future. Our future, our children's future, our grandchildren's future. If we allow this to take place, if LG Electronics is allowed to build this building and start a building blight, there'll be no end. And what we have enjoyed and the privileges we have, our future generations won't have that privilege.
Advocates say if construction is allowed, other tall buildings could follow.
The U.S. environmental movement actually began with the protecting of the Palisades, and it built on that, that occurred 120 years ago, and it defines our country in some ways. And we cannot let the environmental movement stop here with this building. And it's not just one building. That's how it started out. But then it morphed into a whole zone along the park in Englewood Cliffs. And yes, that zone is supposed to be just 90-foot buildings, not all 150. But there's nothing to stop it from being 150-foot buildings. And if one town does that, then why shouldn't another town do that? So I think we may have been a little complacent and sort of resting on our laurels.
Goodell, a Montclair resident, said he wants to preserve one of the last unchanged landscapes on the Palisades.
This is the last place where it still looks the same as when Henry Hudson sailed up the river. And, and that's worth saving, isn't it?
LG questioned the timing of the rally. In a telephone interview, Taylor, the spokesman for LG, said, "The timing of the rally is a little odd given that a mediation is going on. LG has always said that we are willing to explore all options. We are participating in good faith. The timing of the rally right in the middle of mediation frankly suggests there's little good faith and compromise from the groups. It's a massive investment, a world-class building. That's why LG has so much support from the taxpayers and community leaders. None of this seems to matter to these groups that focus on their narrow concerns. We're trying to proceed in good faith. The rally shows a lack of respect to the New Jersey courts and the supervised mediation process." A website set up by LG states that the $300 million project would generate $1.3 million in additional revenue for Englewood Cliffs, hundreds of construction jobs, and a $2 million science and environmental learning center for school children. Opponents have also set up their own site.
It's not a narrow concern. The concern is that this national natural landmark will be destroyed if that building is able to be built. They can put a building there, they can have jobs here, and there can be ratables there in Englewood Cliffs. We're not trying to oppose that. We just want them to redesign the building. We're here today to raise awareness of what our opposition actually is, which is the size of the building and the direction of the building, not that the building is being built at all. So that really is our goal, is to make sure that everybody knows what we are opposing. We're not opposing their building or their jobs.
Babeth, a resident of Rumson, addressed charges that most opponents are from New York.
It's everybody, and the area residents are not as well aware of what's going on as they claim. This park belongs to everybody. It's a national park, not just Englewood Cliffs. This belongs to everyone. So I think they're misguided, and they're not being honest by saying that it's only New Yorkers who care. New Jerseyans care, and the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs care.
Alpine Mayor Paul Tomasco urged compromise.
But what I find so remarkable about the challenge facing us today is that it is eerily reminiscent of what we in Alpine went through starting 13 years ago, not long after I became mayor. The cell companies then wanted to construct a 150-foot cell tower on Route 9W near Montami Country Club to address cell service deficiencies in that area. We in Alpine's governing body supported them, but rather to our consternation, individuals from the park and groups from across the Hudson opposed us because 150 feet high was significantly above the Palisades Interstate Park tree line. And what do you imagine happened? Well, I'm going to tell you right now that instead of digging in for a series of long, hard, costly court fights, we compromised and lowered the height of the tower to what was acceptable and worked for all parties involved. And by so doing, the cell companies and we in Alpine realized our objectives sooner than otherwise might ever have happened.
Will there be compromise? Both sides say they're listening. The next court-mandated mediation is scheduled for this Friday. Reporting from Alpine, Cesar Darius.